Now, the government is celebrating after shutting down all the emergency housing motels in Rotorua. At its peak, over 240 households were crammed into 13 motels. But now officials say there are 0 families left. Associate Housing Minister Tania Tapsell is calling it a win and says it's deliberate, coordinated action, bringing safety and dignity back to the city. Labor isn't convinced. Housing spokesperson Karen McElnulty warns that people just might be sleeping on the streets, couch surfing, or tucked out of sight, claiming the government doesn't really know where everyone's gone. But on the flip side, community and iwi groups are seeing real progress, moving people into long-term homes and building 240 new affordable rentals at Rotorua's Manawa Gardens. Rotorua Lakes Mayor Tania Tapsell says the whole community had been affected by emergency housing, and it's great to see the end of it. And she joins me now. Tania, good afternoon.
Kia ora, great to join you.
Thank you for your time. I know you're very busy. You have called the emergency housing motels a social disaster. Can you paint a picture of what it was like for the community?
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, I think the whole country knows how bad it was, because at its peak in 1 year, we had over 1,000 negative media articles and interviews. And
Wow.
It really, unfortunately, was the focus. And that did have not only a social impact, which we felt on the ground very much, but also an economic impact as a top tourism destination. So every way we were suffering in Rotorua. And you did mention just in that intro, the Labour government's trying to say, but where have they gone? Well, the Labour government were the ones that created this in the first place. So I think it's a bit rich that they're trying to fire shots our way when we've actually fixed the problem.
Yeah. And I agree with you. Because Labor's trying to say they're couch surfing or they're out of sight and the government has no idea. However, Tania, you yourself have said there are still around, 10 or, I don't know, 10 or 15 people on the streets still. What's been done to help them?
Yeah, look, as well as addressing the urgent need of needing to end the emergency housing motels, we also have been working alongside government agencies, including our local hospital, because health really, when it comes down to it, was the big core and reason behind people choosing to sleep on a footpath instead of taking up the months of offers that they were given to go into some form of emergency housing or get assistance from a social service. So we have been working alongside government to help these people. To be honest, we did have to trespass them, because you reach a point where they're choosing to sleep outside businesses of hardworking people who are also being impacted by their behaviours. We trespassed them, but 3 months before that, we were trying to connect them with services.
Yeah. How much you mentioned health services, how much do drugs and alcohol issues do you think play in a role of the homelessness you've seen?
Oh, look, for those 12 to 15 that are sleeping rough on the streets, unfortunately, quite a bit. But what we do know is there are still a number of people that are doing it rough in their cars. What we are really lucky is that here in New Zealand there is financial support available for people. And actually the key win of ending these emergency housing motels, where I'm going, Labour government, you are so out of touch, is that we've also managed to build record amounts of affordable housing, including affordable rentals. So, it's not just about what's the big crisis today, it's how do we prevent this from happening in future years. And I do believe we've managed to do that. Alongside this government, I do have to give a massive thanks to Tania Tapsell. He was back again just recently announcing another 80 affordable rentals, but that's how we keep people in homes.
Yeah. How much of a success is thanks to community groups and iwi that have stepped up?
Oh, massive. So our local iwi, they did have land available to develop. Straight off the bat, we had iwi working alongside government saying, hey, we have land, we will take people out of motels and place them here. But Ngāti Whakaue also have been significant players. We've had hundreds of homes built, not only affordable rentals, but also affordable to buy. Because at the end of the day, there are so many hardworking families that are also struggling to get into a home. So how do we balance supporting those most at need while making sure that we're not harming or preventing opportunities for those who actually are at work and should have some form of assistance too?
I mean, that's pretty impressive, Tania. Some 240 new affordable rentals. This is it the Manawa Gardens? I mean, that's that's quite a substantial number.
Oh, look, Ngāti Whakaue has been a significant player here, but I have no doubt that this would be the case across the country as well. It's actually just about working alongside them and supporting them. So from a council perspective, unlocking the land to use. From a lending perspective, banks being open enough to working with these Māori organisations. And end of the day, we know the crisis and the need is there. So let's just work together and make it happen as soon as possible.
Brilliant. How has the emergency housing affected Rotorua's local economy and the community confidence?
Oh, look, this figure will blow your mind, but we got an economic report done and it showed and proved that if the motels were to continue as they were, it would have had a $90 million impact on our local economy. That was massive. And so I do also need to thank the government because, these are family-owned and operated businesses at the end of the day that provide tourism and hospo is our biggest employer here. So, for the government to also, on the back of all the housing, they've given us, just over, it was 4.5 million actually, to help boost tourism in Rotorua and across the North Island. But here in Rotorua, that's what we need. We're on the rebuild, and we just want to keep improving, not going backwards.
Exactly. Well, I don't want to say looking back, but looking back, what's the biggest lesson, Tania, for Rotorua about tackling homelessness long term?
Oh, look, just being really clear about when we're providing assistance, what actually is the exit plan? Because there wasn't an exit plan when the emergency housing motels first came in. And so, as an example, when I was first elected as mayor, the very next morning I was calling for an exit plan in 2 months. And to be fair, previous Labour Minister, Megan Woods, helped us with the initial Rotorua housing plan, but this government helped us to fast-track families into homes because most heartbreaking thing really was when we delve into the numbers and we said, come on government, if you're going to put all these people here in Rotorua, we need transparency, we need accountability. Where did they come from? Who are they? What sort of homes do they need? And over half of them were always children. And you think some of these children spend over a year in a motel with not even a proper kitchen to cook or somewhere to play. So in terms of looking back, let's make sure we never get to that situation again anywhere in this country.
Yeah, well said. Tania, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. That is Tania Tapsell, Rotorua Lakes Mayor. Well said, eh?